Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a community update for August 9th, 2019, so let's get into it. Alrighty, wanted to get a quick video out today because a few things are changing in the community kind of on a whim and kind of out of nowhere. We had a patch that went live, within the last 24 to 36 hours where there was a lot of changes to heroes, and it turns out there was the Dwarf Legendary was performing pretty underwhelming, so it's going to get a look at and be buffed a little bit. And Tomb Lord got a pretty crazy buff and was overperforming according to Polarium, so they're going to kind of rework Tomb Lord a little bit. Also, last night on stream, I had a few people point out to me that there's a couple new champions that were added, so I'll go over those. It was kind of like a secret ninja, out of the blue adding of two champions that I didn't really see listed anywhere. If it was, definitely let me know, but I didn't see them listed anywhere like in the news or anything. So I'll go over those, and yeah, so first I'll just kind of jump into this here. I'll show you this post by Polarium, by Marius, the community manager. And basically what this just says, is they're listening to the player base, and investigating, hero balance and all that. So, with this legendary, if dwarves are gonna have one legendary, it should probably at least be like decent. And my first kind of initial reaction of the dwarf legendary was, I think it's called Mountain King, was that it was pretty underwhelming. So they're gonna go ahead and change it. Base HP increased, base cooldowns for Enchanted Axe and Regal Force decreased to 5, so they used to be like 6 or 7, so that'll help out a little bit. Fabled Skill, which is the passive, I believe, now increases attack by 50% on the Mountain King, and stacks up to 100%, but that does reset. I'll pull up the character. That does reset every round for like dungeons and stuff. And then Mountain King's skills now also scale with HP and attack, which is a good change. I like that. His overall damage output has been increased. So, okay, let's go ahead and pull up the Dwarf Legendary. And here we go. So what they did was this A2, Enchanted Axe, and this Regal Force, they lowered the cooldowns to 5 turns. If we use books, we can get it to 4, so a lot more in line there, but they are single hitters that don't apply debuffs or anything, so time will tell. We're going to have to wait and see, because we don't know the multipliers. We're going to have to wait and see how hard these abilities hit to really know exactly how bad or how good this champion is. I expect the damage to be incredible for these two abilities because they're single hitters that don't apply debuffs or anything. This does ignore defense, which is good, and this does ignore shield and block damage, which is useful in the arena. So it could be a really good kind of single target nuker. I don't know yet. And then the passive was increased to increase the attack by 50%, and it can go up to 100, but it does reset each round. So another ability that could be kind of a snowball type ability in the arena. But my first kind of impression even after these changes is that it's still gonna be a lower tier legendary. Obviously this will help, but a legendary that doesn't apply any debuffs or any buffs to allies or do any AoE, I struggle to see how that champion is going to, or any like revive. I just struggle to see how that champion's gonna be like end game viable compared to the other options out there for legendaries. So yeah, I still would kind of have Mountain King in the lower tiers, but at least Polarium is listening and taking a step in the right direction with him, so hopefully that continues. And then the other one was Tomb Lord. So let me go ahead and pull that up. Alrighty, so this one actually came from Cirilla, and it says that after the release, Tomb Lord has been overperforming, thus we have fixed his third skill, Blight. Now the champion gets an extra turn just once instead of getting it every time an enemy's turn meter is reset by this skill. So let's pull up Tomb Lord and take a look at this Blight ability. Okay, so Blight is going to be this one here. It's going to be resets the turn meter of all enemies with less than 50% HP. Has an 80% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. also an 80% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Grants an extra turn if an enemy's turn meter is reset by the skill. So that's the part that was kind of addressed by Polarium. Grants an extra turn if an enemy's turn meter is reset by this skill. So I don't have Tomb Lord, admittedly, but what I think what was happening was if Tomb Lord reset multiple enemies' turn meters, he would get multiple turns. So what they did was alter this to only allow him the 1 extra turn. So I've read a lot of, you know, forum posts and things on Reddit and stuff, and it seems like people are really overreacting to this and saying, okay, Tomb Lord's garbage again. And that may be true. I admittedly don't know. All of these changes have happened. So many things have happened in the last 24 hours. I haven't really had a chance to dive in and objectively test these things and see them, you know, over any sort of sample size. So I think the community in general is slightly overreacting. I mean, this ability is still going to be really good. So Tomb Lord has definitely been bumped up. Is he God tier or excellent tier, or is he just decent? Admittedly, I don't know that. So I'm going to have to kind of keep you posted on that. But I think Tomb Lord is still going to be pretty decent. I think he's going to be pretty good. This ability is still pretty game changing. It is on a 5-turn cooldown, which is a little bit rough. So, but the A1 is a 3-hitter that decreases speed. The Aura is okay, but not great. And the A2 is still insane. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, where if critical, has a huge chance to place 4 poisons on all enemies. So that's still really good. So I do think people are overreacting a little bit, and I would still have Tomb Lord rated as like an above average legendary. I think he's still decent. That's just kind of my first impression after all these changes are kind of thrown at us. So let me know what you think down in the comments about that. If he's garbage now, or if he's still decent, you know, definitely let me know. Also, there was a couple champions just randomly added to the game. I don't remember seeing it in the patch notes, so I'm going to go ahead and review them for you. We actually go to the Sacred Order, and we can see here there's an epic right here, this kind of on the far right, Portrait Force Champion, and then over here on the far right, this rare support. So a rare support and an epic attack. The epic is Sanctioned Purifier. So we've got an A1 that hits one enemy with a 25% chance of placing a block buffs debuff for 2 turns. That's interesting. That's not bad. It's definitely at least interesting. We got attack one enemy with a 50% chance of placing a stun. That's pretty lame. And then the A3 is attack one enemy with 2 random allies. That's really cool. Damage inflicted by this champion and any allies joining this attack will be increased by 10% if the target's under a stun. Okay, so that's going to be better in like the arena, because you can't do this to like bosses or anything to make it noteworthy versus the clan boss or dungeons or anything. That effect isn't going to proc. But hey, I love these abilities. Like Longbeard is kind of the famous one. He's a legendary that attacks with all of his allies, and it just looks cool. It's kind of a cool ability. So that's kind of cool. My first impression of Sanctioned Purifier is kind of a mid-tier epic is kind of what I'm first thinking, because this ability is cool on a 4-turn cooldown, and the A1 is okay, but I don't see anything like crazy game-breaking, and I also don't see her being terrible. So yeah, first impression is kind of a mid-tier epic. And then this one here, Mother Superior, a spirit support. So we've got an A1 that hits one enemy with a 35% chance of placing a 25% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. That's a pretty good A1. I like that. Anytime we can get decrease attack or decrease speed, decrease defense, weaken, something like that on an A1, that's pretty good. And then an A2 that heals an ally by 30% of this champion's max HP, so that's good. I always like it to be this champion's HP. Places a shield buff equal to any surplus heal for 2 turns if the target is fully healed by this skill. That's a decent ability. It's pretty good for a rare on an A2 with a 3-turn cooldown. And then places a 7.5% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. Places a shield buff equal to 10% of the target's HP on all allies for 2 turns. Places equal to 10%, oh, okay, of their HP on all allies for 2 turns. Okay, if an ally HP is full. So, okay, it's a 4-turn cooldown, so it's pretty big. It'd be really good if it was on like if it was on a 4-turn cooldown and able to get it to 3, but that would kind of bring her up into like the epic tiers. So a pretty solid support for a rare. And then we've got increased ally speed in all battles by 13%. So pretty good rare for dungeons. A spirit affinity, which is tough to get good spirit champions, pretty decent heals, a pretty good A1, a good kind of early to mid game aura, really good base speed of 103. So yeah, Mother Superior is going to be a pretty good rare, probably like a B plus, you know, definitely like a top 20-ish rare. So yeah, a pretty cool, you know, champion to be introduced to the game there. Alrighty, so yeah, that's just kind of the couple things I wanted to go over for today to kind of get everybody up to speed and keep you updated. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.